Welcome back, it's BrewBQ'n. Today on the menu we're getting a little fancy here. We're making birria, which is like a Mexican stewed meat. Usually it's with lamb, traditionally. We're gonna be doing it. I got about 3.5 pounds of brisket point here, so we're gonna be doing brisket birria. Can't wait to get this thing started. So the base of this is, as you've noticed in a lot of Mexican cooking, is these dried chilies. We're gonna go with pasillas and we're gonna go with guajillos. And so what we're gonna do is first we're gonna chunk up this this brisket here. We're gonna cut it into cubes. We're gonna get it like browned. Then we're gonna pull it out and then we're gonna cook all the other ingredients. We've got to get these chilies reconstituted. So let's get to this. So with the brisket, this is the point. We've got quite a bit of fat in here. We're gonna trim a lot of that off, but we're gonna leave some of it. It'll just render down into the stew, adding just a lot of flavor to it. This is about the size chunk of meat that we're looking for, about a 2-inch cube, somewhere in there. We're gonna basically brown this off in a Dutch oven, pull it out, brown the rest of our veggies, stuff like that, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven at 350 for about 3.5 hours, 4 hours. Let it cook completely down. We'll pull it out. We're gonna shred everything, put it back in, and then we're gonna have this awesome meat for whatever you want. You can do it like in a soup. I'm gonna do like maybe throw a little hominy in there, make it kind of like almost like a pozole. Or what I want to do right now is we're gonna make some quesadillas with it, because these quesadillas are amazing. You dip the tortillas in the sauce, come out incredible. So let's get this thing finished up. We'll get it browned. We'll get these chilies going. We got our meat cut up now. Now we're gonna just season this with a little bit of salt and pepper here. Get a nice little coat going over it. So what we're gonna do now, just add a little avocado oil to the bottom of this thing. And then you don't want to overcrowd the Dutch oven with all the meat. You want to kind of do it in a little bit of batches, because otherwise it'll steam and it won't brown, get that nice crust going, which is going to just add all that flavor. So we're going to add, I don't know, half of this maybe. That sizzle's what you want. That's what's going to guarantee that nice browning. We're not looking to cook this through, obviously. We're just doing it for a few minutes here just to like get that light brown. While we're waiting for this to do its thing, let's get these chilies going so they can rehydrate. That's going to take about 20 minutes as well. What we have is 2 cups of beef broth. This is going into a pot here. What we have here for this is 5 guajillos, 2 pasillas. We're just going to break these up and throw them into the broth here. And then once it comes to a simmer, we'll just turn it off and let it steep for about 20 minutes. We're going to end up blending these, so breaking it up just kind of helps get all the liquid around everything. You want to make sure everything is nice and submerged in here. So that's that for the chilies. Now we just got to finish cooking down this meat here. You don't want to mess with it too much, because if you keep moving it, it won't really brown. You want to let it actually get that nice crust going to it. The meat's browning. The chilies are kind of simmering, doing their thing. We got about 5-10 more minutes left on those. Time to toast some seasonings here. What we have is 2 tablespoons of ground coriander, or of whole coriander. We have a cinnamon stick, 4 allspice cloves, or berries. I think they're berry. Tablespoon of cumin seed. About 8 to 10 cloves, and about a quarter teaspoon of whole black pepper. We've got the skillet kind of just been sitting here around low, and we're just going to dump all this in and kind of toast all of these spices. What that's going to do is just going to bring out a ton of their flavor and just add a lot more depth to this dish. This should only take about a minute or 2, and you want to be careful not to burn it. So basically, once you start smelling it, it's done. Pull it off. We'll go from there. All right, spices are done. The smells that are coming off of that, you get the coriander and the cumin. Oh, it's absolutely incredible. So we're gonna put these into a bowl, reserve them for a little bit later, and then we'll get to the finishing up this meat here. The meat's done. We're gonna pull it off, just let it rest here while we get the rest of this done. But this is exactly what we're looking for here. You can see all this like awesome browning that's on that. That's just gonna add so much flavor to this. So We're gonna get this off. Okay, so this is what's going to be essentially the broth. We've got that 2 cups of beef broth that was sitting in here with the chilies. That's going in the blender. Here, said blender. And then we have all those spices that we toasted up there. I'm reserving the cinnamon stick out. I'm just going to throw that in the broth or then into the Dutch oven. That way we can pull it out later. So all these are going in. One thing you want to be really careful, if that liquid's still really hot and you turn the blender on, you could have an explosion. So you want to make sure you always hold the lid really tight and start off on a low speed, and then you can work it up from there. All right, there you have it. Awesome color. It's got a lot of earthiness to it. Not a lot of heat. Obviously those chilies that are more sweet and earthy than they are hot, so the flavors on this, you get those toasted the toasted spices. God, why can't I say that? You get the toasted spices in there, coriander, you get a lot of the coriander. Oh man, this is gonna be incredible. So let's finish putting this thing back together. Okay, so we still got all the like juicy, yummy little crusty bits on the bottom of this thing. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna throw in 1 large onion that I've already diced up, just pretty large. We're just gonna let this sweat a little bit just to kind of cook out some of that raw onion flavor, get a little bit of browning on it. Okay, there was some little crusty bits on the bottom of the Dutch oven here from the meat, so I just threw in 2 tablespoons of water to kind of deglaze the bottom. You just kind of scrape the bottom of the pan and get all that, you know, that yummy goodness off the bottom of there. So now, into this we have 6 cloves of garlic that I also roughly chopped. We'll let those go for about a minute. Next in, 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. We've got about 2 tablespoons of fresh Mexican oregano and 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes. Just diced fire roasted tomatoes are going in. Kind of stir it, make sure everything gets incorporated here. 2 bay leaves. That's it. Now's the time we return the meat into the pot. Want to make sure that gets all nice and coated. And now it's time for the star of the show, the chilies. That's going in. And last but not least, that little piece of toasted cinnamon stick. Like I said, we'll just pull that out later as well as the bay leaves, and we'll just add, you know, a lot of flavor to this. Check out the color on that. It looks absolutely incredible. The smells coming off of it are just so complex and I don't know, amazing. So we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. We're gonna throw it in the oven. I mean, you could put it straight in the oven. It would just take forever to come to a simmer. So we're just gonna knock off a lot of time here. Once this comes to a simmer, we're gonna cover it, throw it in the oven for about 3.5 hours. Like I said, we have it set at 350. And we'll see you guys when it's done. Get some birria going. All right, we are at a simmer. Lid's on, we're going in the oven. While we're waiting for that to finish doing its thing in the oven, there's no better time for my favorite time of the day, beer of the day time. Today we have Pariah's Brewing. Only 90s kids will get this IPA. It's 8.2%, so more like a double IPA. Can's got all kinds of fun little, you know, 90s stuff, I guess. It's brewed with Citra and Apollo hops, and see how this goes. It's only got actually 42 IBUs, which doesn't seem too high. That is hazy. Almost looks like a milkshake IPA, to be honest. Let's give it a try. It's not bad. It's you get a lot of that citra hops coming through. A lot of citrusy. It's not creamy at all. It's more like a, just a standard, hazy IPA, I guess. So again, beer of the day, Birria Brewing's. Only 90s kids will get this, and cheers. All right, we just hit the 3-hour mark. Let's check this thing out. Look at that color. The smells that are coming off of this are absolutely incredible. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull all this meat out and we're gonna shred it. And then we'll put it back in, let it reabsorb in all the sauces. This is also a point where if there is any of the fat that didn't render out, this is that point where we can get rid of it. So we're just gonna take all the meat out. All right, at this point too, we're also gonna take out those bay leaves that were in there. Find one here. And it looks like that cinnamon stick just kind of disintegrated in there. Don't know where it went, can't find it. So let me get this shredded, just use a couple forks, shred this up. The one thing I did notice also with this sauce though is that it thickened up a little bit more than I wanted. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another 1.5 cups of broth. And that looks a lot better. Once the shredded meat gets in, it'll also absorb a little bit more of that liquid. We're gonna throw it back in the oven for about another 30 minutes after this, and this should come out absolutely incredible. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, now we got all the meat shredded, all the fat was separated. This goes back in. And like I said, we're just gonna throw it back in the oven for about another 30 minutes, all right? All right, another 30 minutes has passed. This is looking just incredible. I mean, check that out, right? So now it's time for the tacos. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use a little bit of avocado oil. Just lightly grease the bottom of this cast iron skillet here that we've had heating up on medium for about 15 minutes. And then this is the secret. We're gonna take this tortilla. We got really nice thick corn tortillas here. This just gets dipped in all this amazing broth and sauce or whatever all this is. This is all just gonna get dipped into here and then placed on the skillet. For the cheese with this, can't believe I almost forgot it, made a special trip to the store just for it. We have Oaxacan string cheese. Now, this cheese that is on this, it's so good. It's so melty. It's so flavorful. This is just going to go on here. And it just kind of pulls apart like normal string cheese does. If you can't find this, obviously this is kind of like a specialty thing. Monterey Jack works it just as well. I feel like this is like way more traditional. You get these down in Mexico, and this is the kind of cheese that they're using for this. And the Birria. Birria. I know I'm butchering that. I apologize in advance. And obviously at this stage, all we're really trying to do is get a little color on the tortilla, get the cheese nice and melty, get these things eaten. These things are done. Let's put our little finishing touches on this. All right, here we go. So we've got all the condiments going on this thing. We've got, obviously, our tacos. We're gonna go with some marinated or pickled red onion here. It's going over the top. Got a little avocado. Fresh cilantro. And then just because we've got some diced Fresno chilies here. And then just a squeeze of lime. Let's give this thing a try. I'm just going to go ahead and use a fork. Make sure you get a little bit of everything on here. Oh man. That meat has just so much flavor. You get a little bit of the cinnamon, you get the cumin. Top of that melty cheese, that Oaxacan string cheese, that stuff's amazing. If you can find it, I highly recommend it. Great for quesadillas, molitas, if you ever had one of those. Birria tacos, perfect. Guys, I'm gonna go finish this. Can't wait. We'll see you guys next time. Please don't forget to yeah, there you go. Please don't forget to subscribe. Any comments, we appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.